Hey, hey, are you an adult English language learner? Do you sometimes feel like saying, hell yeah, I want to learn some English? Do you like movies filled with mayhem, violence, action, suspense, or a good book that you might want to read? Do you like improving your English vocabulary? Well, if so, you've come to the right place. This is EF'nL. Hell yeah! Where we don't shy away from controversial topics or vocabulary. And we look at English as the way it's spoken by real native speakers in the real world, just like me. I'm Mr. Don, so come and join me for the next 20 minutes or so, and let's have some fun and learn some English together. All right, let's get started. Oh, by the way, this is episode 6, and I upload once a week. All right, this is the first segment I like to call Chit Chat. I'll chat with you for a couple minutes, ask you half dozen questions ranging from easy to more difficult. You can answer them out loud or just in your head, whatever. All right, we're going to talk about music as today's topic. So, what kind of music do you like to listen to? Me? Well, yeah, a lot of different kinds or genres of music. Uh, Blues, rock, metal, folk, guitar, classical, just about anything really, except for, can you guess what kind of music I don't like? Yeah, you're right. Pop music. Is there any kind of music that you despise? Yeah, I despise pop music. I can't stand it. It's terrible. And why? Probably just because I don't think the most of the musicians have any talent. Um, they don't play musical instruments. They don't write their own lyrics. Uh, some of them can't even sing that well. All right, but if you like it, okay, whatever floats your boat, man. Um, okay, do you play any musical instruments? If so, which one? Did you take lessons? Did your parents make you take lessons? My mom was a piano and organ and accordion teacher, and she tried to make me take piano lessons. That didn't work very well. When I was younger, I played the tenor saxophone in junior high and high school, but I was a lazy bum. I didn't practice very much. I didn't have discipline, and so I never got really, really good at it. How about you? If you play a musical instrument, do you practice every day? If you don't, which instrument would you like to learn how to play? All right, the final question is, have you ever heard music from a CD or a record, a vinyl record? How do you think it compares to the music, the wave or the MP3 music that you listen to on Spotify or online from whatever source? Do you think there's any difference? All right. That's the topic of music. And think about what kinds of questions you would like to ask your English speaking friends about their musical tastes. All right, this is the freaking fun phrase of the week. And it is, what goes around comes around. Goes around, comes around. So you saw in the picture at the intro of this week's episode a boomerang that Australians throw and it comes back to you. Or some falling dominoes. And then they make a train and it comes back to you. This is very closely related to the idea of karma, which is our wackety whacked word of the week. And it's tied to the idea of fate. That if you do something bad to someone, then maybe, just maybe, something bad might happen to you. Okay? And that would be the hand of fate stepping in to deliver justice or karma. Now, the question is when? Does it happen immediately? Does it happen in this life later on? When you were a young person, you did lots of bad things, and then later in life, you'll suffer for them, and bad things will happen to you? Or does it not happen until the next life, the afterlife, after we die? Well, there are different ideas about that and philosophies. And again, this is all really tied to 1,000-year-old religious and philosophical beliefs. But in the Bible, we have several phrases that come from it that are similar to what goes around comes around, that we still use today. If you say to one of your English-speaking friends, hey, what is the golden rule? Go ahead and ask them. And they will, or they should, reply, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Which means you should treat other people the way that you would like to be treated. Why? Well, that's based on the idea that what goes around comes around, or karma. As in, if you do good things to other people and you treat them well, then generally you will also receive good treatment and be rewarded in this life immediately. Okay? Another phrase that comes from Jesus in the New Testament is, those who live by the sword die by the sword. So if you are busy, killing people and doing whatnot, that's probably the way you're going to die. It's not exactly the same, but it's similar. All right? There's a consequence to your actions and the way that you live. Finally, there is a phrase, reap what you sow, as in you will get or receive either benefits or curses, good things, bad things, blessings, depending on what you plant or the actions that you take. So again, very similar. Some modern phrases that you're probably aware of, and this is one that I use, the first example. Man, am I giving off bad vibes or something? I actually say that to people. If I'm having a couple bad days where a lot of just weird, wacky, bad things happen to me, I might say, man, I must be giving off bad vibes. Okay, that's the phrase, what goes around comes around. And that is the freaking fun phrase of the week. All right, this week on Spotlight on Music, we're going to look at the band Anthrax. For all of you metal fans, metalheads out there, you already know who they are. If not, they're one of the most important or influential thrash metal bands ever in history. Okay, and the reason I am highlighting them is because they do have a new video out and album. It's for the Kids, which you can catch on YouTube, so check that out. And along with that, they have a tour. Let's just take a look at their tour dates. A lot of dates in Europe, as you can see. And looks like they then get to North America, first in Montreal in September, a couple on the East Coast, a couple venues in Los Angeles, San Antonio, and then finally Mexico. So not a lot of dates in North America, unfortunately. Okay, let's take a look at their albums over the years. They did get their start in the 80s. You'll notice here, Sound of White Noise, that was huge among my generation. A lot of us listened to that repeatedly. So that was a big one. And then For All Kings was their last album that I thought was excellent. That really did well. That was a beautiful album. And then they also have, if you want to get started listening to them, one of the places to start is their anthology No Hit Wonders. This is kind of a greatest hits or greatest early hits. You can see some of the titles. Of course, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, originally done by Ozzy and Black Sabbath. Antisocial. Are you antisocial? I am sometimes. Okay, great song there. Indians, Madhouse. Yeah. Anyway, check that album out for sure. Let's just look at Sound of White Noise. So, all great songs. There's not a bad song on this entire album, which was why it was so popular and successful. Potter's Field, okay, where people are buried. You've got 1,000 Points of Hate. This formula here is for sodium pentothal, and that is an anesthetic, gained fame as a truth serum, okay, of sorts. Make people tell the truth, supposedly, anyway. All right, that's Anthrax. All right, this week's Beg, Buy, Borrow This Book or Steal This Story segment is on the book King Rat. What a name, eh? By James Clavell. And this story takes place during World War II. The Japanese have just invaded Singapore and taken it over as they push through Southeast Asia. There is an American lowly enlisted man. I think he's a corporal maybe. And because of his, business savvy and skills negotiating, he becomes the King Rat. So it's about conditions and survival in a POW, a Japanese-run POW camp in World War II. Most of the prisoners are British. It's got a lot of really good, interesting characters in it, and it's also really great for describing the conditions. Now, if you've heard of James Clavell, it's probably because just recently, a couple of years ago on FX, they did a mini-series, remade a mini-series, and they did a really great job on it, and that was Shogun. Taking place in Japan in the 1800s, and actually Shogun is part of his Asian Saga series. So if you'll notice, let's just see if I can find that. Here we go. Okay, Shogun, Taipan, Gaijin, King Rat, Noble House, and Whirlwind. Whirlwind is a little different. It takes place in Iran, right before and during the Iranian Revolution. So it's also interesting. All these books are great. They're all about Europeans in Asia, basically. Let me see if I can actually... Yeah, let's just look at some of the reviews for a minute here. Surprisingly good. Well, okay, who cares? Splendid. Epic nature. Yeah, all of his books are fairly thick. They're fairly long reads. I think this is actually the shortest in this series. Okay. Oh, here we go. So this is not the original. Evidently, there are two versions of this. The original one that I read, yeah, it does not have any women in it. This one evidently puts those perspectives back in. I guess they were edited out in the original version of the book, and now you can buy the version that has some of the women's stories. I imagine the wives of some of the prisoners in it. So you have a choice there. All right. As you can see, most of the reviewers gave it 5 stars and the rest 4 stars. Only a few 3 stars. So good book. As I found out looking at this, it was also made into a movie long ago. I had no idea. This week's movie mayhem segment is on the movie Total Recall. Now there are 2 versions of it. The original, of course, and then a more modern remake. The original was in 1990, starring Sharon Stone and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. Great movie. That's the one I'm going to play the trailer for first. Let's go ahead and have a listen.
Call recall. For the memory of your ideal vacation.
You were interested in a memory of,
Mars.
You're gonna love this, Doug.
Yeah, but how real does it?
Okay. He wanted a memory of Mars, not laws. But anyway, you get the point. This is in the future. Selling memory implants is a big business. You can go in and why take the vacation yourself and put up with all the, hassles, fuss, inconveniences when you can just go to some kind of clinic and they will implant the memory. And then it's just as good as if it had actually happened.
As real as any memory in your head. You are on your most important mission. Do you want to know the future?
What about the past? You are not you. You're me.
They erased your identity and implanted a new one.
Watto wants what's in Quaid's head.
You're Quadrant, right? Wrong. If I'm not me, who the hell am I?
You wouldn't hurt me. We're married.
Consider that a divorce.
You got a lot of nerve showing your face around here.
Look who's talking.
You can see it's got beautiful babes, action, a lot of suspense, and mutants so far.
My name is not Quaid.
An hour we could have total recall.
I want Quaid delivered for reimplantation.
Get!
Get ready for a surprise!
Kill them all! You think this is the real Quaid? It is.
We hope you enjoyed the ride.
All right, I'm going to show you just a bit of the remake.
Happy with how your life's turned out?
I know this isn't what we had in mind when we were younger, but who gets everything they fantasize about, right?
Hey, what do you know about recall?
Stay away from them. Don't mess with your mind, man.
You seem like you're looking for something. Is it this? You're gonna wish you had 3 hands.
I'm looking for recall.
Remember to have a...
Now you'll notice that the setting's a little bit different. And yeah, they've got some famous, decent actresses, just like the original. I didn't like it as well as the original, to be honest. But you can see this takes place in a futuristic Earth, whereas the original takes place on Mars. All right, it's time for our last segment, the Whackity Whacked Word of the Week. And this week's word is karma. We've already pretty much discussed the meaning in the previous freaking fun phrase segment. What is karma? Well, it's the principle or belief in cause and effect. For example, or more specifically, that your own actions, words, and thoughts will directly affect your own future experiences for good or for bad. Okay? And I gave you some examples. So basically, it's the phrase, what goes around comes around. All right. What are the origins of the word? Well, it's a Sanskrit word, comes from India thousands of years ago, was a part of Hindu religious belief or philosophy. And is it universal? I'd say pretty much. I mean, I think that most religions and societies throughout time believe in certain similar things like fate, that what you do will affect your future. And you can look at all the religions, all the societies, and decide for yourself, but they all have some kind of version of karma, I think. Now, you noticed on the slides earlier when we looked at the fun phrase, what goes around comes around, I didn't discuss the phrase instant karma, which is really cool. So, what is instant karma? You would say that when somebody who usually deserves to be slapped upside the head by the hand of fate, they deserve to have something bad happen to them, and it does almost immediately. Okay, so there's no long delay, as in some guy starts going around kicking dogs. You might remember the phrase we had earlier in an earlier episode, let sleeping dogs lie. But he isn't letting them lie, he's just kicking them for no reason. And then shortly after he starts doing that, a pack of wild dogs in one part of the town descend upon him, bite him, take him down. He ends up in the hospital. You can say, wow, instant karma. Okay. Or somebody in a road rage incident tries driving around and starts cursing, just driving like a maniac, cursing at you, and then wow, they pull around you and boom, crash into a street sign, or a big truck smashes into them. And you could consider that to be, wow, instant karma. I like it. All right. That's the Wackity Whacked Word of the Week. All right. That does it for this week's episode of EF'nL. Hell yeah. I hope you enjoyed my little show. And if you did, I hope to see you next week. Tell a friend, a classmate, a colleague. And in the meantime, take care. All right. Peace out.